This week, you're going to cover chapters 5 and 6. Chapter 5 is focused on housing, and the primary focus here is how housing has changed from, say, the 1930s and 40s and some of the policies that affected housing all the way through to today. Of course, there is also information in the textbook about how during the 1960s, as more people of color began to move into areas of cities where whites had lived primarily, whites began to move out of those areas of the city and go to suburbs. In fact, a well-known term for this is called white flight. We have seen this happen even more recently in the LA area, where Mexican or other Latinx people begin to move into those communities that Blacks moved into in the 1960s, and Blacks who can move out and move into suburbs. And so it's an interesting pattern because it seems as though not just whites move out of an area when people who are not like them move in, but Blacks have seemingly done it too. It will be interesting to see if the same sort of thing happens when perhaps larger numbers of Asian families move into areas that have been primarily now occupied by Latinx families. I don't know, we'll see if that even happens. Chapter 6 is focused on crime and how we identify crime, how we label it, but also how we punish it. For example, white crime versus street crime. We think very differently about these two types of crimes. We tend to not think very much about white-collar crime. Seemingly, it doesn't affect us as much as street crimes or, quote, violent crimes. If something happens with insider trading or fraud on the part of a corporation, etc., we tend not to think that those things will trickle down to us. However, violent crime, street crime, we worry a lot more about that because it seemingly is closer to us. The reality is that white-collar crime, corporate crimes, governmental crimes cost society far more than street crimes do, if we put it into economic terms. Now, if we put it into lives lost, I'm not sure what that comparison is, but if you've paid attention to the news within the last couple weeks, there was a train derailment in a small town known as Palestine, Ohio. That train was carrying chemicals that the chemical company decided needed to be burned to prevent those chemicals from spreading out into the community, into the water, the soil, etc. And now people can't drink the water there, and many people are saying they don't feel safe going home, even though their homes have been tested and have been found to be in safe levels for this chemical. So again, street crime, violent crime versus white-collar crime, and how we think about it also has to do with how society portrays it in the media, in movies, in TV shows, etc. In addition to this, Chapter 6 also focuses on the increase or the rise of American prisons, the increased population that we have in the United States now for our prison population. We have more people incarcerated than any other country per 100,000 people. Has that made America safer? I don't know. I won't weigh in on that. I leave that up to you to ponder. But also, I want you to consider how our racialized ideas of people may contribute to the way that people are treated, not only within the criminal justice system, but before they even get into the criminal justice system by law enforcement officers in their communities. So these two chapters, very interesting. I hope that you enjoy learning the material.